Good morning. My name is Councillor Emma Parker and I am Chairman of the Licensing Committee for Dorset Council, and I welcome you to this virtual licensing subcommittee this morning. If I could ask my two fellow councillors to introduce themselves, please. Councillor Barron, you're muted.
I'm not now.
I can hear you now.
Councillor Mike Barron. First time. This one is going to be good. Yes.
Thanks, Councillor Barron.
And I'm Councillor Susan Cockin. I represent Portland Ward and also on Dorset Council as well.
Thank you, Councillor Cocking. Can I have a proposer for a chairman for this meeting this morning, please?
Can I propose Emma Parker?
And I would second that.
Right.
Thank you, councillors. Just to let you know, just go through some housekeeping. This is a public meeting and it will be streamed live on YouTube. If you can please keep background noise to a minimum, and apart from the three councillors that are on, if you can keep your cameras off and your microphones muted, and when you are invited to speak, then obviously you can turn your microphones on and your cameras on. I think, oh, we do have actually, we do have a chat bar. That chat bar is purely there for if you have technical issues, and it is monitored by our Democratic Service Officer, but it's not monitored by us as three councillors. What I will do now, I will just do some introductions, get everybody to introduce themselves so I know that we've got everybody in the meeting that we should have. Obviously, I've introduced myself and served my fellow councillors. So if I could ask now, please, the committee clerk, please, so the Democratic Service Officer in the meeting this morning.
Morning, I'm Elaine Tibble and I'm a Democratic Services Officer for Dorset Council.
Thank you. And then if I could ask our legal representative to introduce themselves, please.
Hello, I'm Phil Crowther. I'm a senior solicitor at the council.
Thank you. Then our licensing team leader.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Aileen Powell. I'm the licensing team leader, the author of the report, and I also have an officer in here called Roy Keepax, and he'll be dealing with all the production onto YouTube.
Thank you very much. And then if I could ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to introduce themselves, please.
Good morning. My name is Julia Palmer from Trethowens and I represent the applicant who is here with me today. Hello. And that is Mr. Peter Brown, who is the DPS designate for the applicant company. Thank you.
Good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you. I will now go on to the representations. Everybody that has made representations are obviously I've got you down here. So I've got do we have Mr. Twidle?
You do.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we do have a Mr. Narbeth.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. We don't have any responsible authorities, i.e. the police, environmental health planning. We don't have any representations from them. I will now just go through the agenda. We've elected our chairman. Do we have any apologies?
No, there's no apologies.
Okay, and councillors, do we have any declarations of interest?
No.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any urgent business?
No, Chair, we don't.
And we have no exempt business.
No, Chair, we don't.
Okay, so I will now ask Aileen, our licensing team leader, to introduce the case before us today. Aileen, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This is an application for a bingo premises that is on the site of a former bingo club, which was Buzz Bingo. There have been no changes to the times applied for that are contained within your report. One of the members of the public has withdrawn their representation after considering the response to their objection, and this is representation number 3 in the report back. There are therefore 2 outstanding remaining objections to this application, both parties who are here this morning. For ease of reference, the conditions from the operating schedule are enclosed at Appendix 2 of the report, but I would like to point out that the Town Council withdrew their objection on the acceptance of an amendment to one of those conditions. So the condition should read, the activities relating to the on-site disposal and collection of refuse bottles and recyclable materials shall only take place between 0800 and 2200, not 2300 as is indicated in Appendix 2. The only other thing I'd like to add is the licensing team had no previous complaints against the former Buzz Bingo license, just for your information. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions for Aileen with regards to the report?
None.
None at the moment, no.
Okay, thank you. And then if we could go to the applicant, Julia Palmer. Do you have any questions for Aileen at this point?
No, Mum, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now I will go to our Mr. Twidle and Mr. Narbeth, who has made representations. Do either of you have any questions for Aileen at this point?
This is John Twidle. No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing at the moment, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so next then I will move on to the applicant and I will ask them to present their case, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you have heard, there was a Buzz Bingo on this site before, and this application is effectively to reinstate the licence that has been there for many years. The report outlines the demise of Buzz Bingo and its licence, and unfortunately Mr. Brown came onto the scene just too late. He was outside the 28-day period during which the licence could have been reinstated by a transfer following its surrender, but he was too late, and so he is now before you applying as he must for a new licence. This family business draws on its extensive experience in the trade in looking at the future of and for this club. It knows its trade, its potential customer base, and not only what that customer base will want from its membership of this club, but also in the way that they will use the facilities. There is a six-figure sum being spent in upgrading the site to a modern bingo club, providing the now expected wide range of facilities. Members, I know that you have kindly read all the documents in the report, including response to objections, so I'm not going to labour on that at this stage, but if there is anything further you wish me to labour on, do please say. So we do have representations, as we know. Mr. Brown and one of his managers spent some considerable time in Weymouth, and they still are, looking not only at the area, but also making contact with the police and local businesses, amongst other. He had received comments in support from businesses whose customers, they said, would be pleased to see the return of the bingo club. And recently that included an hotelier with a property backing onto Crescent Road, in fact, directly opposite his entrance. So he was disappointed to receive the representations that are before you today, and you will have noted the response that has already been made to that. The club member demographic, just to pick out some of the points that were made in response, is very likely to remain largely as before. And we understand that was an age group averaging 30 to 60s and plus, although all are welcome, and with typically more women than men. This is not generally a demographic associated with late night disturbances or antisocial behaviour. You will see at page 3 of your supplemental pack the very clear detail of the state-of-the-art CCTV and security system that is being installed. Mr. Brown is clear that it will have a positive benefit to the safety and security not only of those using the club, but of all in the area, assisting as it will in the prevention and detection of any crime. Whilst parking is not, of course, a licensing objective as such, you will note that as a responsible operator, Mr. Brown is taking on the garage next door to provide up to 20 spaces. Now, of course, this application is within a cumulative impact area, and it is right and proper that I address you on that, as it is an important part of your policy. It's noted at paragraph 7.2 of your policy that the main reason behind the implementation of that CIA are the problems occurring, and I'm quoting, as a result of a large number of drinkers being concentrated in an area, for example, when leaving premises at peak times and queuing at fast food outlets or for public transport. Whilst alcohol is part of the refreshment offer at the club, it's not the prime reason for membership. The bingo and ancillary entertainment, together with the food and drink offers that go with it, are the reason that members sign up to these clubs. And we hope will sign up to this one. Experience shows that 70% of the members will usually leave at the close of the evening bingo session, which is at about 9:30 to 9:45. However, some enjoy the facilities, they like to stay and chat or play the machines, but there will not be a large number of people leaving at peak times of sensitivity. There will be a menu available, and my client describes it as pub grub style food and snacks at the club, so it's unlikely that club members will need to join the late night refreshment house queues, especially at the late hours that causes the behavioural and nuisance issues that will have given rise to this policy. Even though this is effectively a reinstatement, Mr. Brown has carefully considered the policy and this particular policy, and you will be aware that his clear belief that his proposals would not add cumulative impact are addressed in paragraph M of the application. That's at page 31 of the report. And the conditions that are helpfully repeated at appendix 2 of the report were offered at the outset and following liaison with the police. And I'm grateful to Ms. Powell for advising of the amendment to 2200 hours on those one of those conditions. There will be considerably tighter controls if this application is granted than there were on the Buzz Bingo licence, which had slightly wider licensable activities and far fewer proposed conditions. Mr. Brown conversely sees the positive benefits for Weymouth as being the return of a safe and secure entertainment venue that had been lost to the town. There are no other bingo clubs. You will see from the landlord agent's letter at page 5 of the supplemental pack that the building could become long-term derelict if it can't be used as a bingo club. So the grant, if you were kind enough to grant, would prevent that threat. The revival of the building and its controls and security systems will be a positive benefit to the area. It will also once again be an attraction for visitors to the area, being helpful to the hospitality trade in the area. Mr. Brown's proposed club tours from his other sites for speciality long weekends away for around 50 people at a time will be amongst the boosts for that trade. He also looks to employ around 20 full-time and part-time staff, including 2 from the former Buzz team, and business rates will once again be paid. Members, I believe my client may wish me to say something else. May I please take instructions briefly?
Yes, yeah, by all means.
I'm grateful to you for that opportunity. My client does wish to stress that, in fact, the number of women who are members are likely to be in the region of 90%, and that they find this sort of venue, and this will be one of them, safe and secure, and they enjoy having that security available. Thank you, members, and unless you have any questions.
Thank you for that addition to the report. That was very useful. Thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Councillor Cocking.
Yeah, could you just tell me what is the maximum capacity that the venue could hold? And then I have one more question after that.
Can you answer that?
Yes. Hello, madam. Yeah, so the seating capacity will be just shy of 500, but for an average bingo club, we normally look at 250 would be the absolute maximum. Where there's only 4 seats to a table, for it to be a comfortable environment, you really only be literally the maximum we'd probably get on site would be 250 to 300 people. I am putting in extra seating in the area upstairs, you may have seen.
Thank you very much. If I may just add, Madam, that capacity of seats downstairs is no greater than it was before.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
that's fine. And my second question was on the report on page 11, 9.3. It just says the application is to permit on sales of alcohol, but particularly live music and recorded music indoors only. Do you have an idea of how many events you would likely to hold? I know it's a bit, how long is a piece of string sometimes, but do you have any idea in the first year how many live events that you would hold with live music or recorded music?
Yes, madam. Yeah, we normally do a party for the customers. Normally do one in the summer, do an afternoon Christmas party, an evening Christmas party, and normally do a birthday party of the anniversary of the club, and then probably another maybe 1 or 2 throughout the year. The entertainment normally goes between 5 and 6, because then the bingo starts at 6 o'clock. So it's normally just a little bit of light entertainment, 1 or 2 singers, maybe a band on some very special occasions, but normally it's just a bit of entertainment for an hour between 5 and 6 before the bingo starts, while they're having their buffet.
So there would be no evening live music or entertainment?
No, I've done that in the past in my other venues, and 9 times out of 10, the customers play the bingo and they leave. So we tend to do the entertainment earlier on in the evening on a weekend, like on a Saturday or a Sunday between 5 and 6, and they come in and join the entertainment, and we normally give them a free buffet, and they come and enjoy that, and then we crack on and play the bingo.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Barron.
Hello. I've got one objector has written, I am unable to find any benefit in licensing a late night bar club with strippers permitted possibly 7 days a week. Is that your intention or not?
No.
No.
No, never has been my intention. Sorry, so yeah, we do a ladies' night. The press, I think, have blown it a little bit out of proportion. I do a ladies' night, which might add Buzz Bingo, previous Gala Bingo, did themselves. But I do them in the other clubs once a year. We just do a ladies' night for the ladies to come in and enjoy. Normally just do them once, possibly twice a year. I may do on Valentine's, like we do like a giveaway, and we may have like 2 butlers on the buff, that sort of thing. Just basically a bit of a comedy thing. Nothing to what the press were putting it as. It's a strip club 7 days a week. So once, maybe twice a year, that would be it, really.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question, and it's just around the dispersal. Obviously, you've said that there could be a maximum of 500 people, but you're looking more around 250. Obviously, I assume once the bingo games are done and dusted, that then sort of like creates a bit of an exodus for people leaving the premises. Have you got ways and means there to make sure that people are leaving to be respectful of the neighbours?
Yeah, normally what we do, we have like member of staff that always sees the customers out. The member of staff also on this occasion, because of the car park next door of the garage, they'll be having to see the cars out the garage. It's got a shutter on the front and also a shutter on the back. So I have a member of staff seeing the customers out of the car park as well. Normally the member of staff we have on the seeing the customers out is also a member of staff that would be going at the end of the evening and sweeping up the cigarette butts and that get left outside sometimes, and also making sure it's secured at the end of the evening as well. But the main dispersal, I mean, we'd be looking at, I mean, when Buzz was there, they were getting 200 to 300 people a week. I'll be hoping to get 700 to 800 people a week if business goes well. Hopefully 1,000 if we can, but that's a week. So we'd be looking at possibly 100 to 150 in an evening, and 30, 40 in an afternoon. When I said the figures before, I was actually looking at 250 would probably be on a big promotional evening that I was probably giving away a holiday or, you know, a car or something like that we do like once a year. But the average admissions would be between 100, 150 people. And like I say, we've not had any problems in any of my other sites with people leaving ever.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillors, do you have any other questions, councillors?
No.
Okay, I will now ask Aileen if Aileen has any questions for the applicant.
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We have no responsible authority, so I will now go to the persons that have made representation. So I will come to Mr. Twidle first. Mr. Twidle, do you have any questions for the applicant? And I will stress at this point that they are questions to the applicant. You will have your chance to have a say on your situation shortly.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Chair. I'd just like to ask Mr. Brown, I note his comments and thank him for those. If the majority of people leave after the bingo session, whatever that might be, 8:39 at night, why has he got a licence to go to 12:30?
Thank you very much. The licence, of course, is asked for exactly the same hours that the previous club had, and you will have heard that there were no issues with the operation of that club for those hours. As I've said, whilst the main group, approximately 70%, will be going home after the bingo session, there will be people who do want to stay and enjoy the facilities, and there is no reason why, when they're in a controlled and sensible environment and they're leaving sensibly and quietly, and that there have been no problems at Mr. Brown's other clubs, no problems with this club previously, why he needs to curtail the hours.
Thank you. Mr. Twidle, do you have any further questions?
Perhaps just to note that while there may not have been any complaints against Buzz Bingo, Mr. Brown stated that he wants to increase the number of people visiting the area by 4 or 5 times. So I'm nervous that might generate problems in the future.
All I can ask you to do is to rest assured that this is a very experienced and responsible operator who runs other premises that are running without issues, and he has every confidence that this will be the same. There will be no issues.
Thank you.
Thank you for your responses.
Is that all the questions you have, Mr. Twidle?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Narbeth, do you have any questions for the applicant, Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about at the back bin stores on Queen Street. Is there going to be like a bin store facility you're going to put in? Because the rubbish there is just unbelievable when the bins are just left there and they're not locked.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear that question. Could you repeat?
It was sorry. I believe what Mr. Narbeth was asking is there going to be a bin store with regards to the amount of rubbish that accumulates around that particular area. Is that right, Mr. Narbeth?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, yes.
The bins, unfortunately, there will be where they were before, around the back of the club, chains to the wall. We haven't got anywhere else for them to go. The only other thing I can do is make sure that I have a member of staff checking the bins in the bin area. We've already moved the bin times of it so it doesn't disrupt anybody in the neighbourhood, but I can make sure that the bins are locked, which is actually one of the recommendations for our insurance, that we have the bins locked at all times. I have noticed, I've been in the area a lot working on the site myself. I have noticed there is quite a bad rubbish problem in the area with the seagulls pulling the rubbish out of the bins, which I've got another 2 seaside towns, which I know how important it is to keep the bins locked and keep the seagulls out. Several times I've had to walk past the front of the club already and pick up several beer cans, broken bottles that we have obviously down there with the people down that area. But with my staff there and myself there on a regular basis, we make sure that the area is kept clean.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I want
Do you have,
to ask
do you have,
another question as
yes,
well.
absolutely, yeah.
I wanted to say, like, you know, I do wish you luck and I hope it goes well. But I'm directly next to the garages. I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning for work, and I'm really, really worried about all the noise with the traffic and the parking. And will the cameras be pointed towards my flat as well? Because when I tell people about things, they think I'm making it up when I tell them.
No, the cameras will literally be facing on the front and the back of the premises, directly on the bins and the exits or entrances, whatever way you want to put it. But basically, mainly for security, to be watching people going in and out of the building, and to keeping the building secure. And like I said, it'd be covering on the back of the building, where I believe you must be. It'd be covering the bins as well, in the area out there, to try and make sure we don't get any, like I say, that the people hanging around drinking or taking drugs.
Well, it was people last time when Gala, was it Gala owned it, or Buzz Bingo, wasn't it? Buzz Bingo.
Yeah.
They were just literally lifting the bins up and just chucking their stuff in until they were overflowing. And myself and a couple of people had to phone for the council to come, because there was just mess everywhere. I know you said you're going to make sure that doesn't happen, but if you look at my property next to yours as well, that I've frosted my windows out. The noise in the street is horrendous already, and I'm just really panicking about the amount of people that's going to be coming there.
Like I say, with the amount of people is not going to really increase by that much, but we are going to be having regular bin entry. I don't know what they had their bins before being emptied, but we've arranged with the bin company that we currently use on the other sites to pick up the rubbish every other day. I mean, if you're getting up at 6 in the morning, the bins will normally get picked up, I think, at about 9, 10 o'clock on the other sites. I can discuss with you, if you like, when would be good for you. We've already changed the times with the council. Obviously, the worst thing is the bottles. The bottle bin makes a lot of noise. One thing I am doing on this site is before they didn't have draft lager because they didn't have a cellar. I'm putting draft lager in, so we don't have as many bottles, hopefully, as and rubbish as what they had before, because they had bottled beer and canned beer. We put in the draft beer. Also stop people walking out with the cans and bottles as well so much for having draft lager.
Yeah, good idea, yeah.
So I'm hoping that will cut down the rubbish, and I hope that can help you. But like, I'm quite happy to meet you on site to go through that with you.
Yeah, it'd be great to meet you. It's quite like, it's quite impersonal when I don't know if you to say these concerns, but I am a resident, and the streets had it's had lots of problems the last year, and I feel like I'm in a prison living here. So
yeah,
it's nothing against you. I totally wish you luck, and I hope it goes well. And but there's residents live here, and I think a few of us are really concerned about traffic and noise. That's all.
No, I mean, Mr. Nalbeth, I'm quite happy. I'll be on site a lot when the club first opens, probably every day, at least for the first few months, which I always do when I open a new club. So if I'm not there, I'd be my area manager. One of us will be on site, and if you've got any problems, you can come and see us, and we'll resolve any problems. I've spoken to a lot of residents in the area already, because I've been there almost every day myself working. So if you've got any questions, definitely come and see me, and I can resolve them for you.
Yes, bro, thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Do you have any further questions, Mr. Narbeth?
No, no.
No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. I think that's been quite useful. What I will do now is we don't, like I said, we have no responsible authorities to make representation. So I will now go to any person who has made a representation that indicated that they may wish to speak. So I will start with Mr. Twidle.
Chairman, thank you very much. I think I've got nothing further to add than my representation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillors, do you have any questions for Mr. Twidle?
No.
No? Okay,
No.
thank you. I will then go to licensing team leader Aileen. Do you have any questions for Mr. Twidle?
No, I don't. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And I will now go to the applicant, Mr. Brown. Do you have any questions for Mr. Twidle?
Thank you for that privilege. No, ma'am, no questions. Whilst we may not agree with the comments that he's made, we've responded to them already, and we respect his views. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I will now go on to Mr. Narbeth.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, just that. It's quite faint, but I can hear you.
Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
No, I think I covered all my concerns. No,
Okay. I'll give you that. We will come to a summing up at the end. So if you've got anything that you feel as though you might like to add at the end, then obviously you'll be more than welcome to. This is just your chance to make any points, obviously, that you've made with your representation. But if you said you pretty much covered it, then that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem at all. Councillors, do you have any questions for Mr. Narbeth?
No.
Okay, thank you. Aileen, do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I will now go to Mr. Brown, the applicant. Mr. Brown, do you have any questions for Mr. Narbeth?
Same as before, mum. So no, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your time. That's been very, very useful. I will now give all parties the opportunity to sum up their case, and I will start with the last, and I will be working backwards on this. So I am going to come back to you, Mr. Narbeth. Do you have anything else that you would like to add for us to take into consideration when making our decision?
No, nothing. I'm just concerned about street noise and rubbish, and I think I've just made my point, and I appreciate the fact that there's going to be people that are shut out. So we'll just see how it goes, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate that. And then if I can go to Mr. Twidle.
Yeah, perhaps just one other comment I'd make is that the rear of our property is part of a grade 2 listed building. So the normal mitigation things that I'd have at my disposal should there be additional noise, a nuisance, is double glazing or something like that. Well, those options aren't open to me as such, and because of the fact it's a grade 2 listed building. And so I think I wish Mr. Brown luck in his endeavour, but I do fear for the worst, I have to say.
Okay, I'd just like to take this point at the moment just to make a point that should any licence be granted, should there be evidence there of any issue around a licence, then a member of public are more than welcome to contact the licensing team to actually call a review of a licence. So if there is any problems around any premises that has a licence, then you are well within your rights to contact the licensing team to get them to investigate it, and then it can be called back in for a review.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
You are very welcome. Okay, so I am now going to go to, we've got no responsible authorities. I will now go back to Mr. Brown, the applicant. Mr. Brown, here's your chance to sum up, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It will be a brief summing up, you'll be pleased to hear. Mr. Twiddle has obviously had a very difficult summer. I do appreciate that from his letter. The noise that he complains about during that time, though, could not have come from the club. It had been closed since March and it never reopened. With this particular application, you have a very unusual and considerable advantage of being able to look at the historic evidence of how the site actually operated and impacted on the area from what we understand is around 40 years of running as a bingo club. The reality here is that there is no evidence of issues before and none with the greatest of respect to support the contentions that there will be now. There are no representations from any of the responsible authorities, and if there had been issues on either criminal issues or noise issues, you would have expected the appropriate responsible authority to have made comments, if not representations. There is no evidence before you, I would respectfully submit once again, to permit a conclusion that Mr. Brown's proposals on a slightly more limited licence for the same hours as before would cause any issue or adverse impact on the area. I believe he has more than discharged the onus on him to demonstrate that the application will not add to the cumulative impact of the area. And we ask in all the circumstances, please, for a grant on the terms and conditions offered as slightly amended. If you could be so kind as to give an opportunity for us to comment if you are considering a grant on any additional restrictions, that would be much appreciated. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I will now go to our licensing team leader, Aileen, for a summing up, please.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have very much to add at all, apart from the fact that I welcome the approach offered by Mr. Brown, that if there are problems, he would, if a licence was granted, talk to the residents, he'd welcome them into his premises. And I would just urge anybody who did have concerns, if you grant the licence, that we are here as a licensing team and we will respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now go to our legal advisor just to check that all relevant points have been addressed in this meeting.
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you. Right, okay, in which case the public part of this meeting will now conclude. The subcommittee will consider its decision in private with the Democratic Service Officer in remote attendance and the legal advisor who may be called upon should we need any legal guidance. The decision of the licensing subcommittee, we hope we will make the decision today, and we will send our decision out to you as soon as we have made our decision. There will also be a written decision notice sent out to you within 5 working days. If any party is obviously not happy with the decision that's made by the licensing committee, then you do have 21 days of a right to appeal to Weymouth Magistrates Court. Can I have a vote to go into a closed session, please?
Fine.
Thank you, councillors. I believe that was a yes from Councillor Cocking, but she's muted.
Perhaps someone did that secretly. They secretly muted me.
That's all good. I'd just like to thank everybody for their time this morning. I do appreciate it, and obviously we will come back to you with a decision, which Aileen will contact you to let you know what our decision is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.